Mario Grotz up here, who is the Director General for Research, Intellectual Property and New Technologies at the Ministry of the Economy. And he will talk us through the digital strategy. Welcome, Mario.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think I'll stay here because the most important is on the slide and it's not the speaker himself, so I prefer to stay here. Stay here. It's really a great honor and a great pleasure to be able to give you some insight on the Luxembourg digital strategy. I think you will listen to great speakers afterwards, so I will not go into the detail, but I will only give you the broader picture of the strategy. I think we are living in an ever more connected world with the key element being digitalization. Digital technologies and digital platforms are really transforming our lives today, how we work, how we connect. And they become more integrated across all sectors of the economy and also of society. I think the world's most valuable resources today are data. Everybody agrees on the principle that data is the new oil of the economy. So in this respect, it's not really surprising to see that intangible assets have become the key ingredients of corporate success. Over the last decades, investments in intangible assets have taken by far investments in tangible assets. Just to illustrate this by some trends, today already manufacturing, financial services and also healthcare are the biggest providers of data, and data will for sure impact all the sectors in the next 5 years. New business models based on data will be created in all the sectors, and the impact today is from the data economy value on the European GDP is estimated to grow from 2.5% in 2017 to 6% in 2025. And very surprisingly, only today 0.5% of the valuable data is only used today in order to develop new business models based on data. So there are huge opportunities in the future really to create new business models and to create economic value based on this data. So how does Luxembourg position itself in this context, in this fast evolving economic context? In a recent study by the Boston Consulting Group, Luxembourg has been considered as a frontrunner, as a digital frontrunner in Europe. Why? Because mainly Luxembourg is an open economy, is dependent on ICT exports, and is highly digitalized and highly innovative. So really digitalization in Luxembourg is considered as an essential economic driver for future growth. New economic models and innovative digital technologies have to be implemented in parallel and also coherently. In order to do this, the government needs also to act as a digital innovator. And it is very clear that in all countries with high-performing digital sectors, typically the government plays a very important role in order to encourage and to foster innovation in order to shape the digital economy. So whether of this fact Luxembourg or the Luxembourg government prepared itself in advance in terms of strategy and also in terms of implementation. In terms of strategy, the Luxembourg government commissioned some years ago a study called the Third Industrial Revolution, which has been carried out by the economist and policy advisor Jeremy Rifkin, and the study really tries to develop a new economic model for the country based on the principles of sustainability and interconnectivity, while of course also taking into account the socio-economic specificities of the country. More recently, as it has already been announced by the Minister, we released our data-driven strategy. So this data-driven strategy, in addition to our AI strategy, really provides a vision and a path forward how Luxembourg really intends to shape the digital economy. The main challenge, of course, will be to enable the use of general purpose technology, as for example AI, coupled to other technologies, Internet of Things, smart component systems and networks, HPC, and also big data analytics. And we really would like to use this strategy to really drive future growth in Luxembourg. And we still continue, of course, to implement a multi-specialization strategy based on the sectors we defined already several years ago. On this slide, you can see the different main priority areas we are focusing on: people technology or clean technologies, Industry 4.0, health tech, financial services, space and logistics, and we really consider the ICT sector as an enabler in order to develop all these sectors. And again, as I said before, data are crucial for the development, or will be crucial for the development of all the sectors in the future. And just to give you a few examples how data really impact these different sectors. Industry 4.0, digitalization of industry, is today based on IoT, big data, AI, and will be definitely a game changer for all these companies in order to reduce time from order to manufacturing from weeks to days. Another example has been mentioned here already is space, and it is very clear that a tight coupling in the future of space data with terrestrial data will lead to a lot of new business models, new business opportunities in different areas, in agriculture, in urban planning, in insurance sector, and many more sectors. So these are just two examples where data is key and which are also key for the Luxembourg strategy, and where Luxembourg will in the future concentrate on the development of these sectors in relation to the data economy. In terms of implementation, the ministry will really focus on three main key areas. The first is boosting and assuring digital infrastructure capacity. Second is experimentation. And the third is ensuring a strong regulatory and investment environment. When it comes to boosting the digital infrastructure, I think it has already been said that Luxembourg has invested over the last 10 to 15 years huge amounts of money in infrastructure, and today we are quite proud about the world-class digital infrastructure we have, especially or in particular when it comes to connectivity and data storage. In the latest initiative in order really to complement our infrastructure is an investment, will be a future investment in high-performance computing. The Luxembourg government will invest in a 10 petaflop supercomputer, Luxina, and this supercomputer will be part of the European-wide HPC ecosystem. So this investment, again, demonstrates very clearly that Luxembourg wants to stay at the forefront of investments in infrastructure and in technology. The overall objective of this HPC, of this Luxina project, is really to democratize and to broaden the use of HPC for public research, industrial innovation, as well as for SMEs and startups. Democratization means, in this respect, reducing the complexity for the users through the implementation of an access portal. An access portal is very important. It will allow the user really to select the desired application they want to run, to point at the data set they want to use, and at the end to submit the job. And the second element when it comes to democratization is really cost control. So we want also to implement a pay-per-use billing model, which again is very important when it comes to using the machine by startups and by small and medium-sized companies. We only announced this investment in this high-performance computing infrastructure some weeks ago, but encouragingly there are already several private companies from all the different sectors which have already started to come to contact LuxConnect, which is the hosting entity of the supercomputer. And of course, we are not doing this alone. We're really collaborating together with LIST and the university, which are the main public research actors in Luxembourg. They are definitely key partners, not only as first customers, but also for when it comes to collaboration with the private industry to develop applications based on big data and on high-performance computing. Second axis of this strategy is on experimentation and test beds. I think Luxembourg is maybe the main weakness of Luxembourg, the Luxembourg industry, is that we experience some difficulties on the integration of digital technologies within the Luxembourg industry. So as a government or the Ministry of Economy, our strategy is really to help industry to experiment and to innovate with the digital technologies, and we set up different R&D programs where we will, in the future, will even more encourage industry to experiment with these new technologies, and we really encourage them to develop test beds using these different general purpose technologies and the data to develop new business models. In this respect, it's also one very important project is also the establishment of the Digital Innovation Hub. The Digital Innovation Hub is a kind of platform that can connect the needs of industry with the services within the national ecosystem, but also with services and providers found elsewhere in Europe. It is a European project. The European Commission really aims at connecting all the different digital innovation hubs all across Europe, and thus creating a network of actors providing competencies in all areas of the value chain, of the data value chain. So the National Digital Innovation Hub will be operated by Luxinnovation, which is the national innovation agency. And we have just hired a CEO 2 weeks ago, and this very important project, when it really comes to the integration of digital technologies in industry, will start operating at after summer break. And the last element of our strategy is on implementing a strong regulatory and investment framework. So trust, good governance, and clear contractual agreements are becoming increasingly important in today's regulatory environment. It is really the ambition of Luxembourg to establish a world-class innovative regulation in order to really allow trusted data-driven services. And in particular, we are thinking about also how to implement the mechanism of regulatory sandboxes in Luxembourg, which really would allow companies to experiment again with data and with new business models. Last but not least, of course, the investment environment is very important. Traditional instruments may be sometimes outdated, and we need to think about new models when it really comes to funding new activities in the data area. So in conclusion, really, in order to preserve its leading position, Luxembourg has developed, I think, a very ambitious national digital agenda, which is focusing on, with also a clear political leadership, and which is really focusing on data and artificial intelligence. We know as a government that we cannot do this by this alone. We really need to work, and we're doing this. We're working in partnership with all the different relevant actors in Luxembourg, from academia, industry, and also the public sectors. I think PPPs public-private partnership is not only a buzzword in Luxembourg, but is really the key ingredients to success from the economic model. So, last but not least, I really would like to thank the organizers for this very interesting seminars, and I'm really looking forward to work very closely with some of you in the future. Thank you for your attention.